The bribe allegations against one of top industrialists of India, that's Gautam Adani. Well, the Adani Group has called this as baseless charges, but the fact that USA and USA's court, this court in New York, that has put forth these charges of fraud, bribe allegations and against government officials too, with regard to Gautam Adani's group. So what has happened is, of course, as expected, a full-on political showdown over this. The Congress party, led by leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi, has jumped on this. He's seeking Gautam Adani's arrest. He's also seeking appointment of a new SEBI chief. But the opposition, interestingly, has denied any link to opposition states with regard to the bribe gate charges. Remember, there have been references of the DMK and YSRCP that have now come into claim that the deals they signed with Gautam Adani, which means in Tamil Nadu for the DMK and YSRCP in Andhra Pradesh, were not with Adani Group directly, were with a government body. And this was over a solar power project, and all of that had nothing to do with directly the group, and therefore they have nothing to take the blame for.
வணிக ரீதியான தொடர்புகள் எந்த வகையிலும் தமிழ்நாடு மின்சார வாரியத்திற்கும் அதானி நிறுவனத்திற்கும் இல்லை. தமிழ்நாடு மின்சார வாரியத்தை பொறுத்தவரை தமிழ்நாட்டினுடைய முதலமைச்சர் மாண்புமிகு தளபதி அவர்கள் ஆட்சி பொறுப்பேற்று தமிழ்நாட்டினுடைய மின் தேவையை கருத்திலே கொண்டு மத்திய மின்சாரத்துறையோடு இருக்கக்கூடிய அந்த அமைப்புகளோடு 1500 மெகாவாட் मिनसारम कोलमुदल செய்வதற்கான ஒப்பந்தங்கள் செய்யப்பட்டன.
राहुल गांधी के पूरे स्टेटमेंट पर मैं आपका एक जवाब चाहूंगी कि राहुल गांधी ने जेपीसी की डिमांड कर दी है और उन्होंने कहा है कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी अडानी के ग्रुप को प्रोटेक्ट करते आए हैं. उस पर आपका जवाब चाहिए.
ये बिल्कुल सही बात है. राहुल गांधी जी जो वक्तव्य दिए हैं कि अडानी को मोदी जी प्रोटेक्ट करते हैं, ये बिल्कुल सही बात है. और ये बात भी, इस बात का भी मैं समर्थन करता हूं कि पूरे प्रकरण की जेपीसी के द्वारा जांच होनी चाहिए. इस बात की समर्थन करता हूं मैं. छत्तीसगढ़ में जितने भी अडानी को खदान मिले हैं, पावर प्लांट मिले हैं, वो सब भारतीय जनता पार्टी के शासनकाल में या तो राज्य सरकार में रमन सिंह जब मुख्यमंत्री थे तब मिला, या केंद्र सरकार में 2015 में 14 के बाद जब प्रधानमंत्री बने मोदी तब उसके बाद मिला है.
वो उस कंपनी का जांच कर रहे थे जिसमें अमेरिका के किसी बिजनेस पर्सन का या कंपनी का हिस्सेदारी थी. संभवतः अदानी जी की भी उसमें हिस्सेदारी थी. और उस कंपनी के क्रियाकलापों में ये पाया गया कि यहाँ जो पीपी ए होता, पावर परचेस अग्रीमेंट के दर होते हैं, उसमें गड़बड़ियां हैं और उसमें कुछ राज्यों का उन्होंने उल्लेख किया. तो उनका ये कथन है कि मैं एक तरह से वो चुनौती टाइप दे रहे हैं राहुल जी की, देखिए हम देखते हैं क्या करते हैं कि नहीं अरेस्ट.
इंशाल्लाह हमें मालूम है कि बहुत चीजों की इन्वेस्टिगेशन होगी आहिस्ता आहिस्ता, उसमें ये सब निकल आएगा. जल शक्ति का मामला भी था, आपको याद होगा, जबकि एक अफसर ने 3000 करोड़ के मामले में कहा था उसमें घपला हुआ है. आहिस्ता आहिस्ता ये सब निकलेगा.
कितने सारे कांग्रेसी राज्य में जो कांग्रेस जो भी जहाँ पे बचे हुए हैं अभी, इन्हीं अडानियों के साथ मऊ साइन हुआ है, मेमोरेंडम ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग साइन हुआ है. वहाँ पे डेवलपमेंट के लिए अदानी पावर के द्वारा, कहीं पे अदानी पोर्ट के द्वारा, इवन केरल में भी मार्क्सिस्ट सरकार जो है उन्होंने कुछ दिन पहले अदानी ग्रुप के साथ अपना पोर्ट डेवलपमेंट के लिए उन्होंने खुद मेमोरेंडम ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग किया है. तो इसलिए अमेरिका में क्या हुआ उसके कारण अपने देश में हम गड़बड़ करें, जो लीगल प्रोसीड्योर है वो फॉलो होगा.
Adani is considered to be very close to Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister. This government, headed by Mr. Modi, is protecting and promoting the interests of the corporate houses, particularly Adani. And now time has come. There must be a thorough probe, and JPC can be one mechanism which can go into all the issues, how Adani has grown to such an extent.
My colleague Aishwarya Paliwal is joining me for the latest on that. Aishwarya, good morning. You tell me how this is being taken up, because whether it's the finance ministry or the whole sector right now, this I'm sure is the biggest news. What do you think happens here? The group says it's all baseless. Political showdown is happening. But how will this case in many ways affect India too?
Well, we have seen how there was a pure meltdown taking place with regards to the markets, but that from what we are understanding today, there is a little stability. The government, let me tell you, Pooja, very, very categorically said that this is a private company and whatever they have to go through, the response has to come from the company. So this is what the BJP, the government at the moment, is saying. They are also saying that if you look at the 4 states, they were not ruled by the BJP, they were in fact being ruled by opposition. So it is the opposition that now needs to answer. But let me tell you, the winter session, which begins from Monday, will be a stormy one. Rahul Gandhi, all the other opposition parties, very, very clear. They have one agenda, that there should be a JPC which should be formulated. So we will see the parliament making sure, the opposition will make sure that there is a lot of ruckus in the parliament. Adani, like we had been hearing over the past many years, that's something that we will see this time around too. But the BJP very clear, keeping itself away from it and saying that Adani now needs to respond to it. And if someone needs to respond politically, then it is the opposition parties, because they were in power in the 4 states that have been mentioned in this report. Pooja.
Very interesting. Aishwarya, keep tracking the latest on that, because to the viewer, I also want them to understand what does the after effects of even the charges right now that have happened from New York will have repercussions globally and especially for India. So let me take you through what the legal process likely looks like here on. Now remember, while the Adani Group has consistently said that their charges are baseless, but it's US and Indian companies that allegedly planned the bribery, and I'm talking about millions of US dollars, that the charge is that the bribery was planned by the Adani Group. Now the charges that have come in from and which are being investigated, that alleged that the bribery was to state power boards. This is where it gets more controversial. It wasn't just bribery or fraud to investors, that there were government officials who either got or were about to get millions of dollars in bribery to get certain solar power projects. Alleged that the bribe was to make the states buy solar power. And this is where, apart from the BJP Congress showdown, YSRCP and DMK names have also come forth. Both the companies allegedly offered $265 million as bribe. This amount was to be for the bribe. Now, how much was given, how much was promised, that will be investigated. But biggest chunk of the bribe allegedly was for Andhra Pradesh officials. And the timeline in which it is being mentioned is when the YSRCP, that was Jagan Mohan Reddy's government, was in the state, in Andhra Pradesh. Now, they've said it wasn't with the Adani Group, it was with the government bodies. And therefore, because this is, remember, the focus about Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, or any other state government, that's why it turns more controversial. Now, let me tell you what happens thereon. Alleged bribery comes to the fore after the rejig in the US company. So basically, there must have been certain changes that happened in the USA, within that company, and that's why these are some of the documents that surfaced. Now, Gautam Adani allegedly had a direct role. That is why his name has been dragged, not just of the group or the company. So then what happens here on? Remember, there is going to be a full-on investigation in this case, and these are layers. There could be phases in it, but by then we've already seen markets are crashing. Kenya has cancelled a deal. Gautam Adani's group also has backed out from a deal in the USA. And therefore, it's the US-India connection here. Remember, USA is undergoing a government change as we speak. President-elect Donald Trump on one side. What does that mean as a relationship with India? Meanwhile, there are legal hassles that Gautam Adani is facing. Gautam Adani, remember, even had congratulated Donald Trump right after the election results had come up. The US has now responded to the allegations that have come in. White House has given out a statement saying they are coordinating with the Indian government, will probe the matter, and emphasizing that nation relationship continues to remain strong.
So obviously we're aware of these allegations, and I would have to refer you to the SEC and DOJ about the specifics of those allegations against the Adani Group. What I will say is on the U.S. and India relationship, we believe that it's stands on an extremely strong foundation, anchored in ties between our people and cooperation across a full range of global issues. And so what we believe and we're confident about is that we'll continue to navigate this issue as we have with other issues that may have come up, as you just stated. And so the specifics of this is something that SEC and DOJ can speak to directly. But again, we believe that this relationship between India and the U.S. has been built on a strong foundation.
The information that has been provided to us by partner nations, I have directed agencies within the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum to immediately cancel the ongoing procurement process for JKI expansion public-private partnership transaction, as well as the recently concluded Ketrago transmission in public and immediately commence the process of onboarding alternative partners, because these are important projects.